those teams that I want to say over the history of us casting Execration, every time there's a new patch, these guys look amazing. I feel like Execration's one of those teams where they just find the broken stuff a lot faster than other teams. And I want to say that because I think it might be a closer game than we expect initially, John.
I mean, you're seeing it from Shanks now, right? He goes for the tree dance, Simian Stride. He's already just jumping around like a maniac all the way.
How is this
on
balanced?
his top jungle.
How is this balanced?
Yeah, it's really funny. It's so fun.
Funny to
I know
who,
a lot of my Monkey Paws 4 players, the Monkey Paws 4 players love it. Look what they can do.
Oh,
just jump across the map, willy-nilly. Yeah, it's hilarious. Can snipe a courier or two as well.
This is so stupid. I mean, I'm not talking. I get the tree
amazing.
part, but the tree jumping crowd, that's too much. Oh, that's a deep ward. I mean, he really does want those couriers. He really, I mean, he's going for the couriers, John. He's got the ward out already.
Yeah, and he's still setting up for maybe a bounty rune snag as well, although it does look like he might be a little bit too late, still in position.
The battle begins.
See if they can fully commit. No, they're going to be able to get away with it. Still a 2 for 2. See if that value comes in for Shanks. I mean, if you commit that early ward, you've got to snipe these couriers. There's no two ways about it. And a stalled out timing, maybe a rotation onto when Abed gets enough gold for the bottle. That could be really impactful on that mid matchup.
Oh, it's
We'll have to
huge.
see.
I think you hit the nail on the head
least.
there, John. I think it literally. Oh, look at this, John. Bottom lane. He's got the courier already, but I think you made a good point. I think it literally is all about the Earth Spirit bottle that you're really looking for. Though, in fairness, he just left Gabby with 0 regen, so that's pretty impactful in and of its own right.
That it is. And that bot lane, again, is not going to be the simplest process for Gabby. Centaur versus Razor matchup doesn't feel great. A bot already has a static link up. And Gabby, you know, he's just going to have to cop it out. Wait until maybe level 2, level 3, until maybe at least 1 null. It does look like he's bypassing the null build-up altogether. He has gone for Counter-Strike facet as well. So I think this is the first time you and I have casted the game with a Centaur without the horsepower.
Oh.
So he is going to need boots. But that double-edge damage, it is really bursty, especially once the shard is up. So I do like seeing this from Gabby.
Oh, it's a lot of damage. You can't underestimate it at all, and Gabby's going to actually move in right away. Not to Den's Zanity either. Denz is going to turn back around on Tims, who might just be going down here. Tims, 1 hit away, eats the Fairy Fire. Denz, oh, he can't get enough, but CML's got him. CML barely securing the kill on the Crystal Maiden. Does get away with the first blood gold, and poor old Denz, he was like 1 HP away from securing that himself, but nevertheless, Execration still do get.
And that is the troubles of this lane for Blacklist. Not much you can really do to shove the Razor fully away unless he overcommits. We'll see how Gabby tries to repair that. You still have Shanks just camping top.
He missed the
He
bottle.
sniped 2 couriers now. He missed the bottle, but he's making this offlane hellish for Gabby, which I like as a play from Shanks, because it does feel like with Blacklist, Gabby's lane has been important. Up top, they have sacked Tino's lane, though.
Tino going down, a very big kill there for Natsumi. Happy days already for the position 1 TB. He will find the courier eventually, so he does get it. But I think had you got an Arbet's bottle, that would have really just ruined the early game of the Earth Spirit, because bottle's just so important when you're playing roaming Earth Spirit from the mid lane. But it's luckily for Arbet, he'll get away with it. Again, had he denied it for a few minutes, like at that level 6 marks the 6 mark per se, then you probably could get a lot more impact out of the rotations of this Monkey King. But you know, for now, I guess he's doing a good job. Problem is, John, he's just not laning. Like, he's just still stuck at level 1 here on this MK.
Stuck at level 1. He's set top lane. Tino one time at all. The pressure from is overwhelming as long as they have this metamorphosis up. There's really no play for Tino whatsoever. So that is the sacrifice you're making for all of these courier snipes. At the very least, again, you didn't manage to find a bottle mid, but by its nature of the Pangolier versus Earth Spirit, Lewis is having a great time up against Abed. Just pressuring nicely, did go for the double jump on the shield crash as well, so has a little bit more to pump out when Abed does go within range. And is managing it quite nicely. Maybe a rotation down the line, but no, Shanks is still just hunting couriers.
What is he doing? Can we look
All
at
the couriers.
Abed's about to die. Shanks, in the meantime, still in the base, looking for that TV courier, is eventually going to get it. Here's my thing. Like, you get the couriers, okay, fair enough, but at what point does this MK just not be a hero? Like what is this? Well, what's he doing? the couriers
Think
can't
of the
be worth this.
economic impact. I mean, it's like 25, 30, 35 gold each to everyone. It's pretty impactful, right?
So
You're
how is this allowed? Like, there's a tree in the fountain and nothing happens.
I don't know if you're supposed to spend 4 minutes in this position, but if he's not, oh, he might get this Boots of Hobbit. No, it's going back. Shanks.
What did I tell you? It's always execration. They always find the dumbest things.
Unfortunately for Shanks, he's less than 90% HP, so the tree dance is going to be a lot slower. But hey, sniping couriers, you know, he's doing his job.
He's gonna rig a regen just in case this happens, Chunt. Don't worry. 1.25 HP regen. You'll be back at any moment. But bot lane Tims. Tims is dead again. No, we're gonna have a secondary kill coming in. I don't know what to tell you. All we've done is talk about this Monkey King this whole game. That's all we've done.
That's all that matters at this point. I mean, once Shanks has tramples, you know, this will last forever. I don't know to stop this guy.
He hasn't got 1
He's
point of
just
XP.
How do you think Tino feels right now? It's like, oh, my Monkey King sniping curse. I'm in lane being shoved between tier 1, tier 2 by a Terrorblade and a Weaver, and I can't do anything. But my Monkey King sniping couriers.
Oh, dude, if
another one.
If he comes back to the lane, I would lose my crap. You can't come back at level 1. CML, he can't get a frostbite out. He'll eventually get one onto Natsumi, and Natsumi just absolutely melts. That's a big kill. Execration doing great work finding the Terrorblade. I'll tell you what, don't go, Shanks, you can't come back. Get out of here.
He's here.
No, you can't.
He's here.
Get out. If that was my Monkey King, I'd be on the mic straight away. Michelle's gonna be okay. Shanks cannot come back. He's almost level 2 of being there for about a second.
Tino?
Tino?
He should just stay level 1, see how long it can last.
Tino's gonna TP away, back to the fountain, walk of shame for the Lycan. Tino's having a great old time here as bottom lane, Gabby almost dying to Dens, though Dens is dropping quite low himself on the Razor, but he's going to be alright to back his way out. It's like Shanks is going to have a look and see if Arbed wants to donate some XP, but Arbed says, no sir, you can get the hell out of there. Let's roll in. Lewis, he'll find a regen room for himself in this Pangali. We're going to run into CML now. So they're grouping up down a bottom lane here, Jonathan. Shanks is here with his level 1 tree dance available whenever. He's going to commit it onto Tims. Tims is not about to die, but yes he is. He's gone.
What? He
Shanks will take
Shanks?
He dies to Shanks.
And he's still level 1! He's still level 1! I can't. I mean, to be fair, Shanks is doing a lot, right? Like, it's a lot of resources wasted. He's making Abed roll back just to get his courier still dies. How many couriers? I wish we could track this. It's a lot of couriers. It's 7 couriers. That's at least like.
Oh, Tims!
That is so much. That's so much gold.
Tims is dead again, I think here, John. Gabby's caught down. Tims is in trouble. Execration so far being very aggressive as. Well, CML ignores Tims altogether, will rush the Wisdom Rune instead, but Arbed's going to be there to cut him off, so now CML going to find himself in danger because Arbed's around the corner. Sadly, though, Rolling Boulder's on cooldown, so he will not be able to keep up. Does at least get the Wisdom Rune for himself. Even gets a nice little bottle
That's
refill
actually
out
huge.
from Gabby. It is.
No Wisdom Runes between Shanks. Well, he finally hits level 2. Soaking up mid, but they actually needed those Wisdom Runes on Execration just to have this Monkey King have more than just 3 dance. Still, I love the impact of Shanks, right? It's forcing all of these more awkward rolls from Abed just to stop this Monkey King. It's forcing them to kind of watch their top, watch their base for a tree walking around. It cuts off some region. The bot lane goes a lot better for Dens than it would without these courier snipes as it keeps going. My god. Gabby?
He's gonna break a record. Gabby bottom lane, gonna go down again. So now this safe lane Razor Jar, then Zanity's having an amazing game. 1-0-4 already as mid lane. Arbed will go down. 7-1 already for the side of Execration. 8 minutes in, 7-1. Maybe the courier's dying this often. Maybe it's made that big of a difference. I mean, they're already 3k ahead.
I think it has. It really has. I mean,
Oh
cutting
my
off all
God.
these resources down bot again just allows all of this winning for a bot. And just 7, 10, once you hit 10 couriers, right, that's 350 gold each.
What?
That you're getting at around that ballpark, right? It's 35 gold at the higher level couriers. Earlier on, it's like 25 per courier for everyone, right? So it's a ton of gold to feed out onto everybody. And... or at least to feed out into the Monkey King, so he's scaling up. Yes, he has ranks. He can keep this game going forever now. And you're basically playing, what, 4v5 in lanes? And you're still having a good time outside of Tino?
Oh, Tims! Oh, Tims! He's gotten the Lycan treatment, Jonathan. My favorite. Just died of the creep waves as Abed, trying to roll away, runs right into the creeps, and, well, there's no escape for him, I don't think. Abed just gonna melt to the damage output. Shanks, don't you dare try to take that kill. Xiao's gonna go for the kill onto the MK. Shanks should be dead, but we'll try for a TP play out. Oh, and he's made it. They can't kill him. They can't kill this Monkey King. I can't believe it.
He's 1-0-1. He's sniped a lot of couriers, and oh my god, he's having so much impact. You're starting to come back now as well to Tino because of all the movement across the map. He's managed to at least buy out the full Dominator. He's microing his wolves well to find these kills. I think 9-2 start for Execration, 10 minutes in. It's a really strong start, especially with how early on these heroes scale. Like, we're talking about Razor, talking about Pango, who just needs a couple of items up. It's going to feel pretty overwhelming for Blacklist, especially since Natsumi, again, his farming pace is going to be held back just by virtue of how terribly it works now.
The state of the game is, it just feels so bad for Blacklist. Like, Abed's just not taking off at all. He's 0-2-0 right now on the Earth Spirit. Like, this is just a horrendous start for Blacklist rivalry. Lewis is almost 2 levels ahead of that mid-Earth Spirit, by the way. And speaking of Lewis, they are rotating down bottom, just trying to shut down Gabby on the Centaur once again. Gabby does have Stampede, so he should be able to find a way out. But they'll pop the Frostbite, they'll pop all the spells, and never mind what I said. Never mind. They've got plenty of damage. Gabby will die for the 3rd time already.
Execration are just very coordinated to play around their strongest here on that Razor. They take tier 1. A bit of a smoke play out from Blacklist, trying to abuse this weaker lane. Right to find Tino. Doesn't have mana to really get anything done here.
Gonna try for the Lycan. He's not the easiest target to take down, but they will give it a crack as Tino's running right towards him, in fact, into the Brambles maze. And eventually, Tino, he will die. You saw how long that took, though. You know, it's kind of the thing, like, that was a long time for 3 heroes to deal with a Lycan.
And it is. And Tino is still microing well. Sends the Wolves down mid, along with the Dark Troll Summoner. Siege another tower in the span of a minute and a half. Execration have opened up the map quite well. And again, this is going to be a big challenge for Natsumi in terms of just his farming pace. You know, he can't just push out these waves. He is going to have to stick in the jungle. It's going to be a lot slower for the Terrorblade in comparison to the illusion spam for free pushes. You're, again, hitting this early spike now for Execration. You've got the Echo Saber fully done on Lewis. A little bit more of a nice build-up, I think, in terms of chasing. Like, the Echo Strike is going to play quite nicely and just getting some burst damage off. You've got the early Yasha for a bot into a BKB, into a Manta. Going to be fully set to frontline for his team once that's done. They are starting to collapse onto this location, though, even dragging Natsumi in for a bot.
Why the hell not? You've got to kill this Razor. The bot getting caught out eventually should just drop and will. Natsumi to take the kill on the TB is going to feel very good. Meanwhile, Abed is going to find Shanks. Shanks still dropping through the tree line. Should be able to get away just in a moment. As Abed has to... Yes,
He did get damage.
That's your mid-Earth Spirit, by the way, against the Monkey King who didn't even lane in this game 1. So, yeah, that's something, huh, John? What a great hero Earth Spirit.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I'm loving what Shanks is doing to Execration. They still find a big kill. Don't get me wrong. Killing off the bot, killing off the Insanity is huge, but they might be able to get decent punish. They can catch someone out, not going to be able to catch Zhao, a little bit too slippery. And they're not able to fully push. They did take top tier 1. But again, Tino's lane was always weaker. The bot tier 1 still hanging on. Does mean you still have all of this free space for everyone to still farm up. You still have some catch-up room to go. Tino, Overlord, already has the recipe. Just needs a little bit more. And does have the full Overlord up. So your Lycan is still at a decent timing, despite that slower start. In fact, it's Gabby and Abed that really have suffered from all of these shenanigans. They're at least 2k behind, and that's Tino in a solo lane up against 2, dying twice in lane. Like, that is not good news for Blacklist, but excellent news for Execration, who again have played this early game to perfection. Like, I don't know what Shank's been doing in the past few months, but this Monkey King, this is the most perfect Monkey King game we've seen.
It's a lot of couriers. He's done a lot of work. I mean, as much as you and I laughed about it for the last 10 minutes, he's done a lot of work here for this team. It works. This is literally peak Dota right now. You might not like it, but this is what peak Dota looks like right here. A tree being moved around on the map is all we have now in Dota 2. Love to see it.
Yeah, you've got a rock that can't hit a moving tree, Mike.
That's true.
It just doesn't work.
No. Wouldn't work in nature, John. Doesn't work in Dota 2. You know, we're very accurate here. I mean, Arbit's been trying his best to put the impact in, but he is literally just a rock. That's all he can do. Look
again, this is concerning for Blacklist because you could consider it's a space for Natsumi, but look at this farming pace. Normally at this point you'd see the Terrorblade start to inch away a little bit further. This damage penalty on the illusions just, it doesn't feel great. Even with the Manta, they'll still take the penalty. So again, like this fast ramp up for Natsumi, it's not really there. He's barely 900 gold ahead of Lewis. Lewis is rushing into the Ags.
They're going onto a bot, but he's a bit too tanky and Arbit. I mean, he's the one who gets left behind. He would at least get to roll away, just barely. I could have sworn Shanks blocked him with that tree dance and Primal Spring in, but apparently not quite. So Arbit does get away just barely. But man, that's just so sad to watch. Like, that's your mid player. Just getting absolutely wrecked as soon as he rolls in.
Yeah, it's rough for Abed, at least with a Blade Mail. Maybe he can reflect some of that burst damage back. Still, the avenues of play for Blacklist are limited. Like, they've got this double Blade Mail timing up. It does feel like they'll need the blink on Gabby before anything else can really proceed. You're very close to finishing up the full Spirit Vessel and Zhao, at least. So you will have some ways to just kind of mitigate some of the healing or some of the tankiness that these heroes have, soften them up a little bit more for the burst. They are starting to make inways down bot. They are cutting off this farming spot, but Nexa hasn't really played here in a while.
Poor old CML. This does get caught out. It's something Blacklist desperately do need is some easy pickoffs here, and they do get it. Natsumi able to pick off another one here on the TB, and it is going to open up that bottom tier 2 tower for the side of Blacklist Rivalry. But they are still playing ultra cautiously here, Blacklist. They won't commit all the way. Metamorphosis still had a long duration for Natsumi, but they decide better of it. They'll just let some illusions and a siege creep do the work. It will be defended eventually here by Execration, but it seems as though Blacklist, they kind of understand, they just don't want the fight at the moment. You know, they're taking the free tower damage while they can, but in terms of fighting, they are well and truly going to fall behind. So there's just no worth in it.
Yeah, I think this is a fine style for Blacklist. Hit and run, find a freebie, support, kill, considering how far behind you are early. I mean, just killing off CML gave them 294 plus 420 gold. It's a significant amount, considering that's just literally a pos 5 Crystal Maiden. So you are catching up slowly but surely, and you're still at a 4k deficit, but you've cleared out the map. You've pressured a tier 2 down to 660 HP. You can keep this invasion down bot, and you can try to just avoid the wider pick-off game that Execration has been playing. They are still about to hit their spikes here on Execration, of course. The BKB for Densanti isn't too far off, and so is the Ags for Lewis. So they will have better tools to stand up front now, although CML again.
Gonna get the Earth Spirit treatment here as the Crystal Maiden. The one thing Arbit can do is kill off CML at the moment, so that's about all he can do right now, and that's exactly what he will do. So he will get the tip here from Gabby. Mid-tier 1 tower is going to remain protected by Execration, but Blacklist, I think, are doing a very good job of just taking all the attention away of Natsumi, and Natsumi is still top of the net worth board, so it's kind of one of those full protect 1 situations where every other lane's gone really badly, and so it's all up to Natsumi on this TB to make the big fight work. And quite frankly, considering how fast his net worth is going up, John, I don't think Natsumi's going to have too many issues.
He is getting enough room to get that scaling up, for sure. Again, it's not as fast as you'd normally expect, but it's still coming online for Natsumi, no problems. As the side of Execration aren't really able to cross the river now. They do have those forward wards. I will say one thing about Blacklist right now. their vision game has been on point. Like instant pings out from CML for the ward by the tier 1 ramp on mid. There was that earlier ward as well by the Lotus Pool down bot. Logs.
Log and L4G. Why did Gabby feel
Gabby's just... He's got the
cool.
hairstyle, you know, back in the day, you know, he's cool again. He's a cool kid.
But the hairstyle isn't cool, Joe. I was about to bring up the hairstyle. I didn't want to be too rude about it, but I don't know how he gets away with that hairstyle, John. Look, who's doing that? Zhao? Being chased down by Lewis, he'll be alright. I just don't understand how he has more beautiful hair than my wife does, John. That's all I'm saying.
Thank goodness the wifey doesn't watch us, Mike.
she
wouldn't
can
like
probably
hearing
hear,
that,
but
for sure.
She turns her ears off when I'm around John, I'll tell you.
Oh.
Zhao. Blacklist did actually connect. Bit of a slow there as Zhao will get frostbitten on the way out. Be a nice easy pick off here for Execration. Not too much to write home about. But can you force Roshan? And I think the answer is probably yes.
Yeah, they should be able to. They've got the damage output. And they've got Tino around. They've got the Wolves. They've got... I don't see any Dominator creep, unfortunately. But it should still be... not the quickest process, but it should still get done in a reasonable amount of time. They will commit the freezing field just to ensure Blacklist not in position to contest. They will find a tier 2 off the back of this for sure. Down bot, as it's only a shove away now with Natsumi. Although the Fortify will stall. But you are set up for this quite nicely. You've got the ward to protect by the ramp now for Execration, if anyone does want to rotate from Blacklist. And a tier 2 for a secondary life on a bot while he gets his BKB up. It's a pretty big spike now for Exe. Like this Razor should, again, be able to just stand up front in a wider team fight, start to get that damage going. You've got the full Ags up on Lewis fully done. So, more utility coming out from the role as well. They just need to find that angle. And I think for the big part for Execration now is to try to mitigate these losses from their supports. You've still got the network lead. It's a decent amount, but all these pickoffs they've found on CML has allowed a little bit of leeway for these other cores. It has allowed some scaling to pour in for Blacklist while they're buying space out for Natsumi.
I feel like Natsumi's becoming too much of an issue at this point. Like, it's just too much free farm for the Terrorblade. As much as Execration might have an idea as to what they're planning to do to try and win out this game, I do feel as though Natsumi, like, if he doesn't get static linked in the middle of a fight by a bot, like, you're in huge trouble. We'll see how it goes. Execration, they are going to try and force something. On the counterpoint to that is, John, if you do get the static link, or you do just kill off Natsumi, Blacklist just have no fight. Like, their net worth just plummets. And suddenly you have a 20k advantage for Execration.
Yeah, it gets really dicey, which is, again, it's down to this core combination as well, right? Like, you've got Earth Spirit Centaur, which, again, we saw in our last series of Neon and Bleed. This duo just doesn't do damage. They are tanky. You do need your Terrorblade to actually burst heroes down. Like, your supports don't have damage either. Not too much output on Zhao and on Tim's. So it's really on how well can Natsumi angle himself. And he does have a Hurricane Pike just to get that force back on Denz. So it's not going to be as easy for the Razor to get a long duration link. We shall see. Shank scouting out again by the Tormentor here.
I'm so confused now, John. Is it Denz or is it Denzanity or a bot? What do we call it?
Both are legal, but I like throwing you for a curveball.
You sure do.
Yeah.
At the start, I started saying Denzanity. You say a bot. I go, okay, I'll follow John. I'll say a bot. And then he says Denzel. Well, why do you do this to me, John? What did I do to deserve this?
You know, I blame Shanks. All that jumping around's made me dizzy. It is what it is. I can't think too well. Very small brain here, Mike. Not much spinal fluid as they go in.
Well, they are jumping in. A big hoop stomp coming up from Gabby, locking down too. They've got a Bart locked down, though he does have his BKB to pop. He'll try to fight this one out, but he is completely surrounded, and a Bart will drop, at least for the first life, as Tino's going to come back in, but Natsumi's got the Sunder. He'll Sunder the Lycan immediately as a Bart, now trapped between a rock and a hard place. He has got no chance of survival, and Tino's even melting here to the damage output of the Spirit Vessel, though he will barely survive. But still a fantastic fight for Blacklist Rivalry. It's Execration. Even with the Aegis up on their Razor, they fall apart.
Force that fight very hard onto that Wisdom Rune once again. and they still managed to snag it as well earlier on with Tim's. And they taking the Tormentor is nice. The shard on CML is some value, but they overstayed their welcome. Good set of vision there from Zhao early on to just kind of help snipe through as well, get that nice angle out for Abed to kind of roll in and get a huge magnetize. You have to be really cautious. Didn't feel like they were quite fully prepared on Execration to take the follow-through fight. We'll find another Tormentor for the trouble, which gives Lewis his free shard. So our Pangolier does have options for the roll-up now on top of everything else to try to angle himself in. But Blacklist, I'd say off the back of that fight, off the back of this Aegis, are probably in a much stronger position. Again, the scaling factor for Execration isn't that great, right? Like, it's Razor, it can scale nicely with like a refresh and level 25, but that's a lot more farm that you're looking for, and Natsumi's still number 1. This Terrorblade's going straight into the Butterfly. You don't have any easy way to pierce through that evasion. You've got a good answer already from Gabby, who again, off the back of those support kills and the little bit of space they got when Execration laid back, has a Halberd now with a Blink Blade Mail. The answers are coming in from Blacklist, and for Exa, very strong start, but it doesn't feel like they capitalized enough to really get this game going their way fully.
It's an interesting scenario right now for Execration. Like, it felt like the early game was going so damn well, but now it's just slowed to an absolute crawl, and I do believe Natsumi's just become too much of an issue now. Like, he's going to have his Butterfly up in just a moment, and once he has the Butterfly up, it does start to feel like he's kind of unkillable. You know, unless you catch him on his own with a big smoke, in the middle of a fight with the Butterfly up, it really does start to feel very hard to see him going down to the side of Exa. In Execration, they might want to start with their shenanigans again, you know, finding some objectives across the map, maybe finding those tier 2 towers ASAP, because, you know, you lose the fight with an Aegis, chances are your next fight isn't going to go too well for you. And for now, Blacklist Rivalry, I mean, they understand the gameplay. Just keep allowing Natsumi to farm. And if anything, get Abed and Gabby some fun. You know, chances are you're going to outscale the draft of Execration anyway.
Yeah, and that you will. And the network gap has closed out. They do cut off Shanks as well.
Okay, Shanks finally will get punished here by Xiao and Abed. A lot of Rolling Thunder stuns coming out here for Abed. He's still just completely locked out and does actually die. So not a very worthwhile trade at all for Blacklist Rivalry. Though in absolute fairness, I think Abed may have really enjoyed that kill.
I think he might have. He's been looking for that one on the monkey. He's been looking to pin down Shanks. Does manage to eventually find it. I think overall, you're still happy with that kind of move, Blacklist, right? Like, yes, you're mid, but you're up. You're preventing Execration from, again, trying to play this pick-off game, trying to look for isolated heroes catching up the map. And you just give a lot of free room out for Gabby and for Natsumi to keep the scaling game up, which are your big conditions. So you're more than happy to make that sacrifice on Abed. You're still working. The map is still pretty much in your favor.
Oh, Gabby.
It is equalized in terms of tier 2s, but again, although...
Yeah, but it's another nice pick up here on Gabby. The issue is, you can pick off Gabby, you can pick off Abed, but the big problem is still Natsumi. That's the big issue you're going to have here as Execration.
Yeah. It's still all about how do you handle Natsumi. Again, he already has a full Butterfly. Doesn't feel like there's really feasible. He is going for the refresh. You don't have enough magical bursts unless you get like a full duration freezing field off in the middle before the BKB comes on for Natsumi, which he is farming next as well. So I'm curious how much more the side of Execration can get. They respond to the bot pressure. A bot will just go down, clear out this creep wave for himself. They can still shove in onto the tier 3 just a little bit with the creeps, but they're not committing, like, say, the Lycan army to get that done. Maybe find Zhao?
Try. Zhao does get caught with the Rolling Thunder of Lewis. That is going to be another nice, easy pick-off here for Execration. A big 3-man smoke up, though. Blacklist Rivalry. They are going to group up. They'll head towards their own jungle. Running towards Tino, though Tino is going to back towards his own triangle now, so he'll be just okay. They could check the Roshan pit for Blacklist Rivalry, but the thing is Roshan is still about 37 seconds away. So not the longest Roshan. Shanks is going to find the courier of Natsumi, and Abed cannot pick him off.
Oh, that's
was on the
not
courier?
insignificant. It was a Crystallis on the courier for Natsumi, so not insignificant for him to find. Just a little bit of a damage boon for Natsumi. And just kind of stall out some more. Stall out his presence at the very least and trying to burst someone up front. Does give some time for Execration to try to retake map space. Again, Roshan in a few seconds is going to be topside. Blacklist are in the general area of the map. So it's going to be a little bit harder for them to force this out. They will try for a smoke pickoff on X's part.
Oh,
If they do
barely
find a big
missed out
one,
on Roshan.
let's say if you find Gabby or you find Abed here, that does open up Roshan big way for Execration.
Blacklist, they barely missed out on Roshan. They literally left the pit as it spawned. They have no idea it spawned up, and now Gabby's going to get jumped. In fact, they'll want Tim's first. The Dark Willow still okay. The Stampede being popped. Gabby, though, he's in huge trouble. He'll try to survive on his own, but Gabby is down. So is Tim's. They'll at least take CML's life, but that's about all they found so far. Is Zhao now in trouble? Zhao trying to run, but Zhao's dead. 3 down for the side of Blacklist Rivalry. And the worst part about all this is they could have been in the Roshan pit. Had they waited 1 second longer, that fight would have never happened.
Yeah, and they just pulled back way too soon. Again, it's just bad timing overall for Blacklist. Again, they were set up right on a good spot by the gate. They were in position. And Execration, really good game sense, right? Like, they go hunting. They know it's going to be a nighttime Roche with a timer, but how long it's been. They set up smoke into that fight, and they find the pickoffs they need. Respawns are fairly short. Roshan is still open for Exa, and they can start setting up for it. Maybe, I'm not sure if they have vision to kind of scout out. You could always just have Shank stand outside, I suppose. There's still a TP point, but without Stampede, process to get into that, but it's just too awkward. It's going to be another one for Exa, Aegis Cheese.
It's way too tough to try and counter out the Roshan now. Yeah, it's another big win for Execration. I mean, this is exactly what they needed here. If you're on the side of Execration, you're looking for that Aegis and Cheese up on your end of things, and now you can give that high ground a crack. Last team fight with the Aegis up was quite a few minutes ago, but Execration, they did lose that team fight. This time around, if you can win the team fight with the Aegis, that is high ground. At the very least, the high ground attempt is going to be yours.
I think the way these fights have to go for Execration, it has to come off of Lewis jumping in first with Tino charging in. Right? Use Shanks for vision. Try to get some D-wards out first before fully committing. And that's where the success for Execration has been. When Lewis can start with a roll, get the chain stuns off, allows the easiest link, sustained link for a bot, things can go smoothly for Execration when that happens. The issue is, with the way Blacklist are playing, you will take that kind of fight, but chances are you're not going to be finding Natsumi. Still, even again, just finding the two cores at this point with Aegis up should lead into some significant map gain, some pressure onto the last tier 2, a little bit of chip damage on to the tier 3s as well. And if they force Gabby to maybe pop that Stampede, and they do manage to clean them up, I think the high ground then is a possibility. Be fully up on that too. This is going to come in. The chain side effects, it has to be perfect. Right, like with that debuff immunity up. If they are trying to gun down this Terrorblade, if that is the focus point, if that is the target they want to fully static link up, then it needs to be perfection from Lewis.
Oh, here we go. There's a 4-man smoke going into a 5-man smoke. Gabby is going to join his team here to try and force a team fight around this tier 2 bottom tower. Could be absolutely massive for either side, but Blacklist is desperate to get this win going for themselves here. Otherwise, it is again a high ground that's going to be set up for Execration. They'll get onto that dire triangle here. Blacklist Rivalry still looking to set up. Gabby looking for a jump in. They'll see Tino, but Tino's going to get the Wukong off in time. Instead, they'll go into CML, but the Wukong's command, they've caught out Gabby for a moment. He'll be able to back his way out as Den's now looking to retreat. Tino will rush back in. Who are they actually aiming? Looks like they're going to find Zhao on the Weaver. They'll lock him down with the Frostbite. Zhao is down. They'll go for a little bit more. Abed now being targeted. He's already less than half HP, and Tino's got him. They'll take down Gabby, but multiple heroes from Blacklist just going down as Natsumi's the big target. He'll go for the Sunder and his own teammate. He'll survive a little bit longer, but not for long enough. Natsumi is down. 4 down for the side of Blacklist. Only Tim's left, and it doesn't seem like he'll be left for too long as he does go down to boot. A full team wipe for Execration. I think now you must rush high ground.
this is your opening. You expended the Aegis, no problem there for a bot. You still have a lot of damage to pump into the tier 3s if you so wish. It looks like they might be setting up for the Tormentor first. They've got the refresh ready on a bot now as well. Very well protected now on this Razor. Lincoln's refresh only lacking maybe some sustain now, if that's something he wants. Something like a Satanic up front, another Dispelled Source with a Manta, with a BKB, but there's no play now. Again, you killed off Gabby, forcing out the Stampede. There's no easy angle, it's in. The roll is already back up as well for Lewis. They aren't going to fully commit. They do play it safe, but a lot of things happened in that last fight. Like, even just the positioning of CML, he blocked Abed's roll on the cliff, manages to use the Crystal Cyclone down and just cuts off that Rixburg.
Oh, they found Abed! Abed gets caught again. He can't roll away either. He runs right into Densanity. Now Zhao being caught. A perfect rolling thunder by Lewis. Sets up onto 2. Oh boy, Blacklist rivalry absolutely falling apart here in this game 1. And I'll tell you, I mean, their mid-game was a pretty big recovery for Blacklist rivalry, but their late game is looking pretty horrific as they're going to try again with the Densanity. Des dropping low. Abad might go down, but no, he walks away. Finally dropping to Natsumi. They'll get the final right click just in the nick of time. So try to punish for even more. They'll go after Lewis, who does also drop. Nice defense. After that first lane of Barracks does go down, they manage to defend, taking down 2 of them. In fact, they'll find the 3rd now. Tino to also drop. A massive defense from Blacklist rivalry. Only 1 racks down so far. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's still playable for the side of Blacklist. Execration overstaying their welcome, trying to go for that secondary set of racks without the full reset. Very forced movement out. Does get punished nicely. Again, you still have a lot of power in Natsumi. This Terrorblade hits like a truck with a Butterfly and just the Crystallis into the full Daedalus as it's flying out now. It's even more output for Natsumi. The way these fights have to go, it's either you bait them in one by one, as we saw in that last fight, by the triangle, or it has to be off the back of a really strong initiation from Lewis. And they were just not in position to get either of those factors off in that last fight. Still Natsumi forcing hard, forces out the Fortify. Respawns aren't too far off though. Natsumi has to watch himself. He did buy out fully.
This is a massive turnaround for Blacklist rivalry. I mean, they're trying their absolute best to even out the game. Midrax is gone. Sunder out from Natsumi just in case, but that's going to be about it. They'll even out the game quite nicely. In fact, they'll go for a T2 tower while they're still out of here. Blacklist trying to get away with as much as humanly possible. Hell, even finding Shanks' courier. Imagine that, that was a big courier to boot. Mystic Staff and the Tiara of Salamene going down for the Monkey King. Oh boy, that was his hex.
Recipe. Yeah, he had a recipe in his backpack. Would have been a huge tool for Execration to open these fights. Karma, yeah, it bites back. Oh, all those couriers, and for what? To lose yours when you need that side of Vice for these team fights. Because again, the initiation, it feels like, is the big issue for Execration. They need to get a jump before the BKBs pop up and get the chain stunts. Or, again, break up these fights with CML's positioning, blocking off Abed's roll, just fragmenting that fight in a very clustered area, preventing Blacklist from doing what they wanted on that triangle. Still, you maintain this 4K lead on Exe. And for Blacklist, Natsumi is delivering the goods. Satanic not too far off on the Terrorblade, still #1 in net worth by a mile. His farming pace hasn't slowed down despite the nerfs to the illusions. Still, Roche has to be the next big factor. Blacklist cannot miss out in this next one. They've got to be able to get in position to contest. We'll see in about a minute how long that timer is. You're also getting some solutions out from Tino. He is going for the Bloodtorn. That's one way to pierce through the evasion once the BKB and Manta are expended, I suppose. Does make it a little bit easier if they can hold out for that usage and in a longer fight here for Execration's part. Still, you are starting to hit that wall now, right? With the refresh up on a bot going into the Shivas, there's not much room left to grow for the Razor. Maybe a Ag's upgrade, an Ag's Blessing or Moonshard eaten up is the next step. It doesn't compare at that point to the Terrorblade unless you get that link. Blacklist trying for a smoke out here.
Oh, they absolutely are. Like, Natsumi's completely 6-slotted now, getting rid of his boots to boot, so there's no more farm to be had here for the TB. He needs to go. They're going to see Dens. He gets the plasma field from the high ground. The wards are there. Gabby, quick BKB out. Denzanity, he's fine for now. He'll go for the static link onto the Centaur. Rushing towards the Terror Blade Natsumi. He's going to be careful. He'll try to go after Denzanity. Looks like now with his BKB, but Tino's broken the gap. Natsumi's gone.
Wait,
Natsumi is gone. Oh, and now Abed's down a bird. Oh, that's terrible. That is horrible, horrible news for Blacklist Rivalry. Denzanity, did you see how quickly he reacted, John?
That was
the BKB,
that was a snap.
It came out instantly.
Not just his response, like the follow-up from Lewis instantly coming in, going for the rolls, taking that fight. They were in position. I don't think that was a planned move at all. They were just in position, and on a snap's notice, they coordinate for that fight really nicely on the side of Exe. Quite a few mistakes coming out there from Blacklist, right? Like, you do have the full ags up on Gabby. He couldn't get in position to actually hitch a ride onto Natsumi. And Natsumi, he sundered something. Didn't really do much for his HP, unfortunately, and it leads to this awkward circumstance. Another set of racks for Tino to try to find. Mind you, the Crimson Guard, look at this damage block. Based on the caster's HP, it is insane on the Centaur.
It is a ridiculous amount of damage block, especially when you're up against the Lycan, but they'll get through it eventually. So Zhao is making it very hard. He got rid of most of the creep wave, but it's not quite enough. There's another creep wave coming. They'll be fine to continue on for that final lane of barracks. Blacklist Rivalry, they are stuck waiting 20 seconds for Natsumi to respawn. Abed will be up once again, and it seems like that's going to be enough execration to actually find Zhao. So suddenly now there's a Weaver gone, though he does at least have buyback and does commit it as now Gabby does jump in. There's a two-man stun out. They will try for the Razor, but he's fine for now. Bart's going to back his way out with the BKB, looking to go back in onto Abed. Though Abed does roll away. Here comes Natsumi. Lewis is rolling his way out. They'll try for the chase with the swashbuckle. They've got Lewis connect. They've got him locked down. And Lewis should be dropping. That's one. Lewis does have buyback though. So not really too much to come out of this, but maybe you can force buyback out of the Pengli.
Good luck to do that. Maybe the safer play for Blacklist now is to try to, again, consider Roche, shove out these lanes, prepare their map control, and set up for a secondary life to have that safety net for Natsumi. Still, Shanks keeping an eye on any movements across the map. Just kind of watching. Top is to go. They've got some good forward wards again here for Blacklist to set up for Darside Roshan, but with a respawn time, it will end up down south. That is something they can play around here for Execration. Still,
you know,
both sides understanding this.
You know what really pisses me off, though? Shanks is actually the same level as the Dark Willow and Crystal Maiden in this game. Like, considering the first 15 minutes of the game, he did not, like, lane at all. He's actually still the same level as both us other supports.
It looks perfectly balanced to me, Mikey.
That's
perfectly fine. Nothing wrong here.
The only thing that could make this draft better is a Spirit Breaker with his innate ability, the plus 50% XP. Could you imagine?
The Hex?
Here we go. They get a Hex out, Tibbs. Let's get caught for a moment. He'll get the Ogre Seal Totem onto the high ground. Problem is, you can pre-dance all the while. Gabby, though, coming in with a big hoop stop onto 2. Shanks will barely survive, but now as Abed's going to roll in with a big magnetize. They've taken down 2 of them. CMO and Shanks are both down. Abed, though, has given his life away for that. Still Natsumi. He'll try for Denzanity Dens. He's trying to run onto the high ground, but he's gone. What?
No buyback.
What is... Natsumi! Natsumi's gone! Shanks will kill him! Natsumi will die to Shanks on the Monkey King of all things. As now they'll find Zhao. Zhao will drop Zhao will drop to Shanks.
What?
Natsumi has buyback, but Blacklist, they've lost 3 without buyback now. They've only got 1 buyback, and that's Natsumi.
I'm a little bit shocked from both teams in that engagement. The fact that Execration forced that while Lewis is still respawning, and then the fact that Blacklist fall apart once Tino shows up and once the Wukong's flies on from the buybacks of the supports. It's rough. They do buy back on Natsumi from just Shanks shoving in with a threat of going onto the high ground. The gem is still left from when... The gem was left when Lewis died, so Execration get to take it back. That's... Nice. A lot of things are happening that aren't lining up for both sides. Still, it's the heat of the moment, right? There's a lot of effects flying out, a lot of things just happening. Can be a little bit hard to read. It's been a bit of a struggle for Gabby to try to get the picture right. To me, feels like that's been something that's not been connecting as well as it has in, again, the last series we were watching. Roshan is up. And Execration does get scouted out. They can hand this over to a bot, who again fully bought out the Shivas, so does not have buyback gold. Rosh shouldn't take too long to clear out. That does give time for Blacklist to fully respawn, take one more fight on the high ground defense. We see the output of Natsumi. Just has to be cautious. Once the BKB fades away, and you get that blood torn on, it's an easy matter for the side of Execration to still pump that damage in. And this is a big tool as well. You've got the full Roshan's banner up. It's a little bit harder for the side of Blacklist to reach into that. 2 melee cores, Terrorblade with Metamorphosis, maybe can kind of deal with that banner if it doesn't put him in an awkward spot, but this should allow a much more secure high ground for Exis. Still, Blacklist trying to force this fight outside with smoke here.
Yeah, it's going to be a desperate fight, I think, here for Blacklist Rivalry. They've made it happen before. With the Aegis on the opposing side, they have won out these team fights, but they're going to have to do it again. They will roll towards the side of Execration, just running down south, though Execration seem to be very well aware this is coming. They are waiting in the tree line. This will be a very hard fight for Blacklist to try and initiate. They'll go for a counter smoke now, Execration. Gabby has been very good with the initial hoof stomps, but we need to see even more. They're going to find Tino. Tino's been caught out for Lycan. That's a big pick-off. And they may have just left Tino to die here as Tino's still running, still surviving. Maybe they can take the fight. Dent will move in, but it's just on the bridge. It's on this very narrow opening. You can't fight on that area. Somehow Tino doesn't die though. How does Tino survive that?
He is rather durable on this Lycan. That does expend some resources out from Execration. No Rolling Thunder out from Lewis, so not going to be able to force out any more, and that does kill off as well. I think they also expended the BKB up on Tino. Did manage to just BKB in the nick of time and run off. So, again, very tanky on the Lycan with a Howl, and that is enough to clear. Still, amplify damage rune for the side of Blacklist to find another smoke out. They're the ones who need this fight outside high ground. They've got to win outside, pressure on. They could look to end. Like, if they win this fight outside, if they manage to find all the lives on a bot, potentially you could just shove right in with Natsumi.
You've literally done it to me all game, you know. Denzanity, a bot, Denzanity, a bot, You know, if people are asking who a bot is in this game, you're the one who has to explain it, because you've changed on me 20 times now. Every single fight, I don't know what to call him anymore. Well, what's the next one? What do you want for the next fight, John? Do you want Denzanity or a bot?
Look, it's a bad habit I had hanging out with Armel and the others. They always code switch the names. So I end up code switching as well. It's like a bot, Denz. Then they had another nickname that I forget now. They have like triple nicknames on everyone when you talk about someone, you know? It just melts your brain, Mikey. In a good way.
I'm not gonna lie. I almost called him Denzel Washington the last fight. No, almost. Not quite. that would have been a compliment in all fairness, though. They do jump in. CML. He'll get caught by Gabby.
It's not dead.
4-staff away. Those CMLs actually alive. They can't kill him off quick enough as the stampede away is there from Gabby, but the chase is on. They've got the harpoon out. Gabby, he is gonna get locked down, and Gabby is down, but he'll fight back. You've still got a 5v5 engagement here for both sides. Problem is the Midrax is dying, but Abed, he's going to roll in. He'll try for the Pango. Problem is he's doing no damage here to Lewis. Lewis will be fine. In fact, Abed's the one that needs to roll out of there and does do so successfully. But Blacklist, they're popping all their spells for nothing, and Abed's down. Abed's dead.
They cut him off?
Yeah, I mean, Abed's learning the hard way not to pick Earth Spirit. This hero is absolute trash. I'm just going to say it again.
It's a weird one. No buyback for 3 minutes on Abed.
It's trash. Say it how it is, John. It is absolute trash.
Hey, at the least, you know, you're not Ricky. He's not Ricky, Mike. Ricky's garbaged here, for sure. So, you know, there's still some bright sides there, Mike. It's still semi-viable. And this high ground defense for Blacklist has to be more than semi-viable. At the least, no refresh on a bot. Did pop it in the last fight. Find themselves a nice Tormentor for a little bit more gold. They only have 1 Rax left to worry about to get the Megas up. It's just this problem of Natsumi, right? Like, as long as Natsumi hangs back and doesn't reveal himself, doesn't allow himself to get linked up, holds on to that BKB, has a refresh as well, then the solutions aren't there. You have to actually now kind of try to eat through 2 refresh charges. Double BKB is your bigger concern.
Oh, here we go.
And then try to go from there. They'll slowly shove
Go for
in.
the mid-racks. I mean, just go for the mid-racks. That's all you need to get the Megas up, and they will fight. Megas on the way. Nice clap near out from Lewis. He'll catch a couple. Still rolling by the fountain now, trying to find himself a target, but everyone does get away. Well, how do you fight as Blacklist now with the Megas incoming? It feels like they are just lacking a bit too much on their end of things. They are going to make the jump in onto the Razor. They've locked him down for now, but he's still such a tanky boy, but he does go down. That's the first line. Terrorize will fly out, connecting the second time around, but with the 4-star away, Abart is going to be just fine to turn around now with his BKB on a Gabby. They're looking for a dieback and they've got it. Gabby is gone and Natsumi gets caught with that boundless strike. He's going to find a Sunder target here, Natsumi. Oh, he doesn't even Sunder shell. He just dies. Lewis does at least go down, but this is over. GG's called. A very sad last fight for Blacklist Rivalry, and props to Execration, John. I don't mean to say I told you so, but this team, every time there's a new patch, they figure it out quicker than every other team in SCA, and